Today's daf is Masechtas Nazir Daf Chaf Aleph. We are at the top line, the first word on the line, which says Tanya Nami Hachim. So it's a continuation of the halacha that we speak about in Tana. The Mishnah said that Misha Amari Nazir V'Shama Chavera, and his friend heard it, he said Va'ani, and then the next friend also said Va'ani. The halacha was, the Mishnah said that they're all Nazirim. So Rish Lakish, the Gemara said that Rish Lakish sat in front of Yehuda, and he said that it has to be that they all said it Teichid Kedei Dibur of each other. So the Gemara wanted to know what was Teichid Dibur. So the Gemara said Kedei She'ilas Shalom. And the Gemara said, what's She'ilas Shalom? The Gemara said Kedei She'ilas, that the Talmud tells Rabbi Shalom Alecha Rabbi. So the Gemara says that Shlakish said that it's Teichid Dibur and Shalom Alecha Rabbi. Yehuda Nesiya had a tain on that, and he said, Tuv l'shavak rafchel talmidu. You're not going to get a talmud if a talmud's rebbe and he wants to become a nazir at the same time. He has to say Shalom Alecha to his rebbe first, then he's missing out on the nazir. So how's it possible? So he said, no, it could even be done after Teichid Dibur. Zak the Gemara, Tanya Nami Hachi. We learned in the Brisa like Shlakish that you have Teichid Dibur. Misha Amar Harini Nazir Shamachaver V'Shah Kedei Dibur. If somebody said Harini Nazir and his friend heard and waited shear of Kedei Dibur, Ba'ach, and the Amar Va'ani, and then he said Va'ani. So who Aser? So if we waited Kedei Dibur, right, and he did not say it quick enough, so Allah is who Aser. The first one's Aser, is Chalan and Nazir, it's V'Chaveroi Mutter. The second one is Mutter. Nazir is Nachal because it said it after Kedei Dibur. So Dr. Gemara, V'Kama Kedei Dibur. What's the shear of Kedei Dibur? Kedei She'ilas Shalom Talmud L'Rav. So enough time for Talmud tells Rebbe, Shalom Alecha Rebbe. So you see clearly like Rish Lakish and not like Yehuda Nesiya, that if it's not done Teichid Dibur, then it's not Chal. Zak the Gemara, Lema Mesayeh Ali. I'll bring you a raya to Rish Lakish from this that we said in the Mishnah. This is what the Mishnah says. Misha Amar Harini Nazir Shama Chaver Amar Va'ani. And his friend here says Va'ani. Va'ani, and then another person here that says Va'ani. The halacha is, the Mishnah said cool that they're all Nazir. So the fact that the Mishnah said only twice that two people heard, the first person heard said Va'ani, and another person. So Zak the Gemara, the Suloi, and Mishnah only says Va'ani twice, but not a third time. So the Gemara is saying that it's Meduyik like Rish Lakish. Why? Because according to Yehuda Nesiya, even four people could be matvis in that first person's Naziris. So why did the Tana Mishnah say four people? Why did it only say two times? Exactly more. It's coming to tell you that the Naziris is Chal only Teichid Dibur, and therefore it's only you only have a sheet. The whole shear of Teichid Dibur is only if two people say Va'ani after the first person called Naziris. However, if a third person would come along, it wouldn't be Teichid Dibur anymore. So that's why the Mishnah didn't say it. So it's a raya like a Shlakish that it has to be Teichid Dibur. So Zak the Gemara, Tani Karuch L'Lichshav Lezel. That Zak the Gemara, the Tana is not like a peddler that's coming in and announcing all the prati dinim of the schera. The Tana is just coming to say the ikar din that passes hatfasa on the Naziris, and therefore the Tana just says Va'ani twice, just to tell you the ikar din hatfasa. So frek the Gemara on this, that let the Tana just say that one person came along and said Va'ani. Why does he count twice? Let him just say once. There's muchach from that the reason that the dafka the Tana said twice to Mamayit the dafka twice and not a third time, like Rish Lakish. So Zak the Gemara, Hachanami. On this I could tell you that the Tana Kudataka said one time Bani. Mishum the Tani Seifa. The reason why it doesn't say one time because the Tani Seifa, it says in the Hemshech of the Mishnah, it says Hutar Risha and Hutar Kulam. That the first one that was probably they all become Mutter. Hutar Achron, Ha'achron Kulam, and Kulam Asur. So the Lashon Rishon and Achron is mashma there's one in between. So therefore, the Tana had to say Vani Vani twice, Vani Vani, just to tell you, because it's mashma the Rishon in the Sefer that there's three people involved here. So that's why it says Vani twice. Because we're trying to make it a scenario where there's three people. There's one that's Mekabel Nazirs, and then you have the two people that come afterwards, and the last one is the Achron, and the first one is the Rishon. Zok the Gemara weiter, klar the Gemara, Iboyeluhu. Gemara wants to know like this: Chad v'chad mitzvahs. If two people or more hear a person saying Harini Nazir, and they all say Vani, so the question is: do you say Chad v'chad mitzvahs? Does each person have a mind to be Toifus and Naziris in the person next to him? They all have a mind to be Toifus or Neder in the first one that said Harini Nazir. Not that there's like a train. Zakti Gemara l'maynafmina. What's going to be the difference? Latfuse amazon. If they want to continue being matzah neder, then a lot of people could say vani. Technically afterwards. So if you say each one is matzah and the one before him matzah and ma'azal ilam, then there's no shear to keep on going, even if it's a long time. After the first one said already in Nazir, another person can come along and say Vani, as long as Shir Teichid Dibur from the one that said before him, but it could go up to an endless amount of people, as long as Teichid Dibur, each one from the one that came before him. But if you said to all being matas in the first one, so then it doesn't pass more than Kedei Dibur, because to be matzah not the one person before them, rather the first person that was Mekabel Naziris. But Gemara Mai, what's going to be the halacha? Zok the Gemara, Tashma, I'll bring you a raya from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Harini Nazar Shama Charer va'Amar Vani. The person says Harini Nazar, and his friend hears and says Vani. And then it says another person hears and says Vani. The halacha is the Mishnah said Kula Nazirim. So Zakti Gemara, Sulamidi, Tana only said twice Vani, it didn't say it a third time. So Charish Shmamina Bekama the Matsu. You see that they're all being Matsu in the first one, and that's why only two people works, because that's the max of the Shir of Teichei Dibur. However, if it be a third person saying Vani, it wouldn't be Teichei Dibur. So Zakti Gemara, these all good like the Chad B'Chaver Mitzvahs, listening to a Vani, let it say a lot of Vani. Zakti Gemara, no, not true. Maybe Taka Mishnah Lav Dafka, and the Mishnah just did not specify a lot of anis. Because Tana Kiruch Elation, Tana Kiruch Lelechash of Elezel. The Tana does not say his words, explain it like he's a peddler. So Frekti Gemara, Oidazoy Listen Chaba, the Tana will say one. Right, we more had same kasha before, more by that before. You'll know everything, because he knows they're not twice on one time, so twice also. Zokti Gemara, Tani, since it said in the Henshkan Mishnah, Hutter Rishon, Hutter Kulan, Hutter Achar, and Achar Mutter, Bekulan Asum, Bechlalik, and so you see that there's Achar and Rishon, there's one in the middle, so that's why the Mishnah happened three people. Shabhaki Tani Vani Vani. Zokti Hil Gemara, Tashma, I'll bring you a raya from the other part of the Mishnah. The Mishnah said, Hutter Rishon, the first one became Mutter, that said Harini Nazir, Allah is Hutter Kulan, and they all of them afterward, they came after him, that followed him, they all become mutter. So Zakti Gemara, it's mashma, Rishon Dusharu. Dafka in this case, they all become mutter because the first one was mutter. What about if the one in the middle became mutter? Then they don't all become mutter. Like, so Lachari, if each one is matas and the one that came before him, so even if the middle one becomes mutter, then the one after him, the Achron, should become mutter. Because the Achron was Kabal Vani, was telling the one prior to him, which was the middle one. So since you see from that, the fact for the Mishnah's halacha, it says that Hutar Rishon and the all mutter, you see that it's mash only in that case. You see from that the Bakam matas when they're all being matas in the first person that said Hareini Nazir. Zakti Gemara, Ein Malach, I could be Doichan Araya. Why? Because I could tell you, Lo Ilam Chad B'Chaver Matzis. Avada, each person is Matzis, and the person that's Lafana, the one that's before him. And Avada, if it would be Hutter and Tzoi from the Naziris, then the one after him Mutter. So why does the Mishnah Dafka chap on and say Hutter Rishon, say even them Tzoi? So Gemara, I did buy a Mishnah Hutter Kulan because I wanted to say a case. It wanted to say a case as Hutter Kulam, so therefore chap on Hutter Rishon. We say that the Tzoi is Hutter, then it's not Hutter Kulam. So Gemara, the Itani have Tzoi, then it's Ikar Rishon and Mishnah. The first one's not Mutter, so that's why I didn't chap on them Tzoi. Shepachik Itani Rishon because I wanted to say a case because that they are all Kulam Mutar. Zakimar, Vaiter Tashma, I'll bring you a raya from another part of the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Hutar Achroin, the last one is Mutter, then the Achron Mutter and the all Asr. So it's a mashma that they are all Asr, Daf goes Hutar Achron, the Loy Ikuka Achroin Basrei, because there's nobody that was typhus after him. Aval on Side Ikachrin Basrei. It's mashma, but the middle one, where there's another person that comes after him. Mystery. Says Dr. Gemara, it's meduyik from the Mishnah that the only reason why I call him Asur is because there's nobody after him that was typhus in him. Aval, if the middle one becomes mutter, then that is another person afterwards. Then mystery, he would also become mutter, i.e. Naziris of them tzai that's mutter. So Shma Mina, Chad B'Chaver Matzos. You see that one person is mad, a person is mad, the person that comes before him, and not in the Rishon. So therefore, if Hutter Mitzali, the one after him that comes after him will also be Mutter because he was mad for his nether. No, it's not true. I can tell you it's not a raya. They're all matvis in the Rishon. And even Hutter Mitzali, the halacha is all the other ones are going to be Aser. Even the one after him is going to be Aser. So why does the Mishnah chap on my achron nektani? How come the Mishnah chaps on achron? So Gemara, my achron nektani and tzoi. Even the tzoi also, it's also going on. When it says achron, it doesn't just mean the last one; it also means the middle one. And the Mishnah is saying, what the Mishnah is saying is that if one of them comes mutter besides for the first one, then they are all aser. Why? Because they're all telling the first one. So why does the Mishnah chap on Hutter Achron and not on Tzoi? It's like Gemara, I did Tana Rishon, since it's said in the Reisha, Hutter Rishon, so I said in the Sefer, Hutter Achron. Because it's saying it opposite of the Reisha. But Avada, even Hutter and Tzoi, even the one after him, is going to be Aster still. Zok the Hil Gemara, we posted the Safek from a Braisa. Tashama, the Tanya Behedya, we learned Behedya. Hutar Harishon, Hutter Kulam. If the first one becomes Mutter, they all become Mutter. Hutter Achron, then Achron Mutter, and all Aser. Hutter Tzoi, if the middle becomes Mutter, then Himenu Lamata, all the ones that were Makabo after him are their Mutter. Himenu Lamalo, ones before him are Aser. Shmami, no, Dr. Gemara, Chad B'Chaver Matzos. You see the Bride is saying the ones that become after them Tzoi become Mutter, Teretz is because they were Matzos in the middle one. So you see clearly that is what's going on. So Gemara Shmami, no, it's Takamuch from the Brisa that it's Chad B'Chaver Kamatvis and not in the Rishon. Zok the Helig Gemara, the Mishnah said Hareini Nazir. If somebody says Hareini Nazir, Shemachar Amar Pi Kepiv Usaari Kisaari. So the Mishnah said that he becomes a Nazir. In fact, the Gemara Mashunda Amar Pi Kepiv Usaari Kisaari Hareini Nazir. Is that enough to make him a Nazir? We learned in a Brisa, the Brisa says, Yadi Nazira, if somebody says, my hand should be a Nazira, Viragli Nazira, and my leg should be a Nazira, Loyam Klum. It's not Nazira, it's not Chal at all. But if it says Roish Nazira, if it says my head should be a Nazira, or Kavedi Nazira, then the halach is Harei Zeh Nazir. So if someone says, but the Brisa says, if somebody says Rosh Nazir, Kved Nazir, then he's a Nazir. So Zaklal, like the Brisa says, Davar Shana Shama Tzuli, but if it's in Kabul Nazir, it's on an Aver that the Neshama is Tali in it, for instance, it means if it gets taken away, the person's going to die. For instance, his head or his covered, his liver. Or he's a nazir. Then the halacha is that he's a nazir because his whole guf is only surviving only because of the aver. So therefore, he is nigar after it, and the nazir is chal. But if the kalam nazir is on an aver she'in on a shaman tluy, then his whole guf does not get nochish left after that aver, and it's not shaykh naziris on one aver. So frek the Gemara, lefidus brisa, lechoira. Somebody says, the Mishnah said a pikapiv sarasarayu nazar lechara. Why? If his lips get cut off, or if he loses his hair, lechara he won't die. It's not the davar shem pluyibay. So why? What's pshat nazir schal? And for the Gemara, Amar Yehuda, when the Mishnah says pikapiv sarasarayu, it doesn't mean that he only said that. Rather, the Amar Hachi, he said like this: Yasa pi kepiv miyayin. My mouth should be like his mouth from yayin. And Sa'ari Kasa'aroi Milagis. So he said clearly these Lashonis. So he's not just coming to Aser his Aver, his Piv, with Naziris or whatever. Rather, he's coming to say that he wants to be specifically a Nazir like his friend, and therefore he shouldn't drink wine. And also, he doesn't want to cut his hair because he's saying that he wants specifically Isser Logos. He does not want to, he wants to have the Isser cutting his hair. Okay. Zok the Gemara Vayter. A lady that says, the Mishnah says that a lady that says Harei Nazir, V'shama Bailav Amrani, a husband here that says he also wants to be a Nazir, and therefore Nazir is Chalman. The halacha is Ein Yachal Hefer, he can't be Mefer anymore in Nazir of his wife, and Pashas because it's like Hakama. Once he says Vani, it's like Hakama, that's a Pashas. So clarity Gemara Yibayalahu, Baal Miyakar Akar, or Yidilma Megas guys. When a Baal's Mefer in the Dharma of his wife, does it work but Oifin that he Oiker the Neder Meikaroi, and it's as if she never made a Neder? Dilma, no, it's not the pshat that's Oiker Mafreya, rather Megas guys, as if he cuts it off from here on the Kanalaba, it's not on the net anymore. That's what he's doing. But until now, about you say that Neder was Miskayim, and it's only about the kind of lahab. Okay, so Dr. Marl, what's going to be nafkamina? The Isha Neder ben Nazir, if the Isha was Nederas in a Nazir, and her friend heard and said Vani, took the diva of the first one, and Nazir is Chal on the second one, Ushama Baila Shal Rishayna, the Baal of the first person said already Nazir was Shayla and the Behefala, and was me for the Neder. So, in that case, the question is now what's going to be in the one that said Vani on that one, when the husband was made for the Neder. So, if you say Miyaka Akar, that the husband that was made for the first one Neder, Nazir's Oiker, like it was never there, so Ibazoi, Hahinam Ishtaroi. And L'chayr, her friend Neder, she said Vani is also mutter, because the Baal was Oiker the Neder Lamafreya. So, she said Vani only to Matas and the Neder, the first one made, but it was Lohayil never, it was Nekal Marfeya. But the Amrit Zok the Gemara that Megas guy is that the Baal's Megas guy is he only cuts another Kana Lahaba. So Ibizai Ishtere, the first one was Mutter, but Chaverta would still be Asira. So Gemara Mai, what's Taka the Achra, what's Taka the, how does it work? So Gemara Tashma, I'll bring you a Rayim. Because the Mishnah said that a lady that says Haredi Nazir V'Shama Bailav Amar Va'ani, the halacha is Eino Yochel Lehefer. The halacha is that the Baal cannot be Mefer. Why? Because it's going to nispatel his Naziris if he's Mefer his wife's Naziris, and a person cannot be Mefer Nidrei Atzmai. So that's why it's a technical problem. So Gemara, that's why it can't work. So for the Gemara, Yisal Gedaydech Baal Megas guys, if the Baal's whole lumdus, the way it works is that he only chops off the nether Mekana Lahab, he's made from Mekana Lahab, so he was a Leifel Ishte Hulataser. So what's the problem? Maybe he doesn't have to come after Mutter. his wife's nether is being matter, so that's mutter b'kan lahava. But he was matter his wife's nether, but his nether l'char is still blind. So what's holding him back from being made for his wife's nether? It's like tomorrow, last shmamino bal miyakar aver. Zetman from them is a raya that the baal is oiken the nether l'mafreya, and therefore there was a concern that he shouldn't be made for his wife's nether if he was typhus his own nether in it. The Zakh Gemara, no, you can't be medayik that the Baal is oiker nether mafreya. Why? Because la'oila megas guys. I'm going to tell you, you know what? Maybe it is megas guys, and he's only cuts off the nether, he takes it away mekana lahava. And bedin who delay for like taka didn't make her then he really should be made for his wife. The higher time of the mefer, and the reason why the Mishnah said he should not be made for came in the Amar Lavani because he said Vani, he says Machtas in his dear, says Mikala his das, and he wants her nether. Command the Amar Kain L'chidami. He's talking Gemara, and that's what we said before. That pshat is that it's working. That it's as if he makes hakam on her nether, and male he can never be he can't be matter anymore. He can't be made for it. Says Dr. Gemara, Mitchell Hakamasi Matzimeifa. If he is mashal on his hakama by a chacham and mevatel the hekim, then he can be made for his wife's nether. The Eloi, and if he's not shoyal on the hakama, loy matzimeifa, then the taka can't be made. Dr. Gemara Tashma, I'll bring you a raya to this shayla. As a megas guy, as a mega akar, when a baal is made for nether ishtay. Dr. Gemara Tashma, I'll bring you a raya from the Mishnah later on, Chav Dalet Amud Aleph, which says, Ha'isha shenadar menazir, a lady that was nadar in a nazir, nadaris in a nazir, verfrishas behemta, and then she was mafresh her behemoths, the three behemoths that you have to be makriv at the end of the days in naziris, the three karbanos, and then afterwards the bayla, so after she is mafresh her behemoths, her karbanos, the baal is made for her. The baal is made for her nether. So come to she was never nazir, and she doesn't have to bring any karbanos. So what's the halacha? The halacha of the behemoth is the following: that im shaloi, if the hoisa behema, if the animal belonged to the husband that she was mafresh for carbons, and then teitze v'serbeid, and the behemoth should go, and it should just go and pasture in all other chulin animals, which does not have any kedushas carbon at all. Why? Because a person can't be makdish a behemoth carbon without the rishus habaylan. And since at the time that the baal was made for the nether, there's a spar that she's not nazir, she's not chayav carbon, and she had no rishus to be mafresh the nether. So Zok the Mishnah and Chavdal that the reason why I should go and pasture be'eder this animal, because at the time, because her husband was made for her the naziris, so Kumtois at the time that she was mafresh karbanis, it was a sparrow that she was not nazir, she was not chayas for carbon. So it's the sparrow that she had no rishus to be makdish that animal for a carbon, because can't do it without the rishus of the bailam, and the husband's a bailam. But if you find out that if this animal actually belonged to her, that she was mafresh for carbon, so the chayyur is chal kedushas behema on the carbon, and therefore zakna mishnah hachatas tamas. You should leave it to die, because you're not using it for naziris, and you can't be makav carbon chatas ben adava. And since it's chal on a kedushas chatas, and you can't be makav, so you just bring it to the house, and you do not feed it or give it any mayim or mazon until it dies. That's the halach. Now, frek the Gemara, the isal kedaydach baal miyaka, if he said the baal takes away nether l'mafreya, then why do you have to let a chatas tamus, if the animal belonged to her, typical chulin? Since the baal was made for it, so the animal should go out to chulin. Since it was a spar that she was never a nazira, and the whole afrashas chatas is garnished. Says Dr. Gemara, lav shmamino baal megas gayas. Then no, it's only megas gayas kind of lahava, but until a shasafar, the nether was kaim, and therefore it was chalon and afrashas chatas, and that's why the din that if it belonged to her, the halacha is a chatas tamas. Zaktamar no lo ilamim loch baal me'aka. I could tell you that what baal's me'aka. So you want to know why do you have to be memis the chatas? It's nothing l'chayr. Let the kasha is let it just go l'chulin. Teretz is a high time it came with tzricha kapara, since this woman does not need a kapara because her naziris was gesteret, it was hofer. So Mela Zakta Gemara Havis Kichata Shemesa Bala has a din like a chatas that the owner died, Ugamiri, and we have Allah Mishim Sinai. That a chatas Shemesa Bala, a chatas that its owners died, Thomas. The Allah is that the animal should just be left to die. Because just like a chatas Shemesa Bala, Allah is Lamisa, even though there's nobody that's Kabar who in this lady, even this lady that was Nekar Naziris, even though there's no Chiv Kapar, the halacha is that this chatas should be left to die. Sakta Hil Gemara, another raya, Tashma, bring a raya from the Mishnah later on, Chav Gimel Manal, for Ishra Nadir ben Nazir, a lady that was Nidaris and Nazir, and she was Ira Naziris, Vice Shoysi Yain, and she drank wine. Vimatam Lames, which is also Matam Lames, Zakni Mishnah, Chav Gimel Manal, Harizis Fegar Sarabam, she gets Malchus because she's Ira no place to say. Zakmar Heichidami, what's it talking about? Ilema, Delay Hefala Baal. If you want, is that time the Mishnah talking about that the Baal was not made for the nether? So, for the Gemara, Tzrichel Meimer, the Tal have to tell me that if the Baal is not made for the nether, then Shchayev Malchus. Like, what's the Mishnah telling me? What's a Chiddush? It's just Chayev Malchus. Al Pshit Zak Gemara, the Hefala Baal. The Baal was made for it, and she became tummy or drank before the hafara. The Tana's telling you, Chaim Malchus, even though if Baal ended up being made for it. So if you want to tell me that the Baal takes it away on my Freya, so the Chayr net is bottom me kares. Those never chalani yisurim. So why does the Mishnah say that her is fegas tabam? In the case of Ishta Nadir ben Nazir, she's over in Nazir, so she drinks wine. Zakti Gemara, Allah Shema no Baal megas guys. Baal is megas guys, and which is over in Nazir is kaim, and therefore that's what the Mishnah says the Malchus is on. Zakti Gemara, so you have a raya, the Baal is megas guys, and that's why she gets Malchus. Zakti Gemara, Lord, tell you Baal me'akar, he's taka aikir. Mishum Tani Seifa, Hefala Baila Vihila Yada, because the Seifa said that a Baal was made for her and she did not know about Afar. So therefore, we said also in the Reisha that. So the Shiloh was that if the Mishnah is talking about that the Baal was not made for the what's the chiddush in the Mishnah? So Dr. Gemara, no, it's only because it says in the Sefer Hefel Abayla V'Hila Yado Yishayim Tal Mason in the Sefer Sefegas Sarabam. So Mela Tanarab Reish Sefegas, the Mishnah and the Reish also said that if a Baal was not made for the Sefegas Sarabam, even though it's not a chiddush because it really only came chaptered on like that because of the Sefer.